Dan Lok is an author, internet marketer, speaker, and is known as being the king of high-ticket sales. He went from being a broke immigrant who didn't speak any English and failing at 13 different businesses to becoming a self-made millionaire. And today we're going to learn his best advice on how to stop seeking validation from others. Rise and shine, it's Entspresso time!
I wake up every morning.
Espresso keep me going.
I wake up every morning.
Hey, it's Carmichael, and every morning I bring you a shot of Entspresso to help you believe in yourself more and start your day with confidence. So good morning, I believe in you, and let's do this. Over to you, Dan Lok.
You talk about you want to be more successful. In the meantime, you spend 3 hours on Netflix, you spend 4 hours playing around and playing video games and doing all this. If I was your mom, I was your dad, I'm not going to believe you because your actions don't match with your words. Your actions don't match your ambition. If you don't believe in what you do so strongly, you don't get obsessed with your vision, no one's going to believe you. And don't expect anyone to believe you. They're not supposed to believe you because you've got no track record. You haven't done shit. It's normal they don't believe you. And guess what? Even though when you're successful, they still don't believe you, right? Even as successful as I am today, I still have people that don't believe me. So forget it. Forget trying to seek validation from other people and say, oh, you know what? If they believe in you, do you know? Some people will do, some people won't. And who people believe you, they follow what you do, great. Build something great with those people. The ones who don't believe you, that's okay, who cares, right? Who cares? I don't know the surefire way to success, but the surefire way to failure is try to please everybody. So don't be a pleaser. Forget about that. Focus on what you do.
You have to decide when you are going to start living your version of your life. Too many people aren't doing the things that they want because you want your parents to support you, your spouse to support you, your friends and community to support you. Those people around you are barely hanging in there themselves. It's up to you. You're an adult. This is your life. Playing small because of somebody else who hates their life might judge you must no longer be an option. So I recently met an entrepreneur. This is such a frustrating one. Who has so much talent. He can sing, he can dance, he can draw, he can make people smile. He's got so much energy, so much joy, so much talent, and he's living such a small life. Still living at home. His parents are basically allowing him to live there with his wife. He went to go audition for some big gigs, but his parents made him come back. His wife is not supportive of him doing his thing at all. Very passive aggressive. Is probably really intimidated by him and what he could do, and maybe that she doesn't feel good enough if he goes off and does this thing. And so he's leading this really small life where he's capable of so much more and he wants to do so much more, but he's now been basically bullied by the people around him to not chase down his dreams and to settle for a lot less. And it's sad thinking about him because now to make that shift, and he's got a young kid, to make that shift requires either the people around him growing, his parents growing, or his wife is the hardest. Like having your spouse grow and change, being with the wrong person is super difficult. And what does that now mean for his marriage? And what does that mean for his kid? Or him stepping up and saying, I don't care what you think, I'm gonna go off and chase down my dreams. And what does that mean for his relationships? So it's a really tough spot to be in because he's spent his whole life, and now he's in his 30s, spent his whole life taking the safe route, living up to other people's expectations and never being truly happy. And it really breaks my heart. It breaks my heart. And I think a lot of people are stuck in that path. I think a lot of people are just living the life that their parents told them to live. They're doing things to try to make the people around them happy and proud and lose themselves in that. A lot of people live just to make their parents proud or just to try to look good in front of their spouse or boyfriend, girlfriend, or friends. Meanwhile, the thing that you want to do, you're afraid that they're not going to support. You're afraid that you're going to get laughed at. You're afraid that you're going to be a failure. And that's just so devastating that you never do your thing. Meanwhile, recognize that these people are not loving their life. Like, look at the people who are judging you. Anybody who loves their life, who truly is living their life and loves it, has very little judgment and throws very little crap at other people. It's the people who don't love their life, who now want you to match up to their failed life, right? They wrap themselves up into your success because they couldn't go off and do the thing, and so now you have to go off and do it. So look at the people who are judging you. Look at the people who are telling you to do this thing. And ask yourself, do they actually love their own life? And is it worth you now spending the next 30, 40, 50 years of your life living what they want you to be instead of you actually chasing down what you want you to be? So how do you actually get out of it? I got a 3-step process that is difficult, but necessary for a lot of people that I'm gonna break down. But first, a quick message from Dan Lok.
Hi, this is Dan Lok. I want to share with you a lesson from Evan Carmichael's new book, Built to Serve. This section is about making money from your purpose. You have to embrace that. If you never learn how to make money from your purpose, you'll always end up needing a day job, and your purpose will become a hobby. If that sounds like a great life to you, then I'm happy for you. If not, then you need to figure out a money-making model that makes sense, one that is consistent, one that is significant, one that can pay you so you can quit your job and succeed to the point where you are providing jobs for others and helping even more people. You see, money is nothing more than a byproduct of value creation. The more people that you serve, the more successful that you will be. So to have long-term success is not just built to last or built to sell or even built to scale. It is built to serve. And this book will teach you exactly how to do that.
Okay, how do you do it? How do you escape seeking validation from other people? 3 steps, let's go. Step number 1 is really understand whose validation are you seeking. Do you actually really want this thing that you say that you want, this thing that you say that you're doing? Do you actually even want it? Is it for you? Are you chasing down your life, or is it for somebody else? Be specific on whose life right now you're living. Or if it's 50% yours and 50% your parents or 50% your spouse, put that down. But whose validation do you care so much about that if your idea failed would destroy you because this person is going to judge you? Whose validation are you seeking? Step number 2 is have empathy for them. A lot of people, this is maybe different than most advice. A lot of people would say, screw that person, F them, forget about them, they're losers, they're idiots, go do your thing. It actually helps, I think, to have empathy for them. Understand where they're coming from. Understand that they probably don't hate you, right? Your parents don't hate you. Your spouse doesn't hate you. Your friends don't hate you, probably, right? There's a pretty good chance that they don't hate you. So why, if they don't hate you, would they be telling you to do something that you don't want to do? It's because they're in pain. Because they're struggling themselves. Because they're not whole themselves. And they're trying to get that by making you somebody who they want it to be. And so have empathy for that. That they're fighting their own battles and they're doing the best that they can and they're barely hanging on. That could be really hard too if it's your parents, to understand that your parents are barely hanging on, that you now need to be the adult in this relationship, that your parents aren't living a great life, that they never accomplished their goals and they're thinking small and restricting you. That's really hard for you to be the bigger person and now that you to step up and be the adult. You have to be the adult in the relationship. Having empathy starts that process. Having empathy removes the sting of the words. When they say you can't do this, you feel a lot of emotions saying that, well, they don't support me, I suck, I can't go off and do this. Really what they're saying is they're not actually trying to hurt your feelings or offend you. They're just struggling in a lot of pain themselves. So it removes the sting of the words. If you can actually put yourself into their shoes and have empathy for them and where they're coming from. It doesn't mean you have to listen to their advice. On the contrary, you still have to do your thing. But having empathy to understand where they are coming from, this is it. Having empathy to understand where they're coming from is the exact thing that they're missing. Because they have zero empathy to understand where you're coming from. Right? And that's not fair. And yeah, it's not fair. But what are you going to do about it? That's the situation you're in. Arming up isn't going to help you. You disarm yourself. And by disarming yourself, you can disarm them through empathy. And then step number 3 is understand that you want to live a life with no regrets. What does the next 40, 50, 60 years look like of you living like this? If it's painful for you right now, imagine 10 more years of the exact same thing, 20 more years of the exact same thing, 30 more years of the exact same thing. Compound that. Feel the pain of that. You think this is a struggle right now? 30 more years of doing the same thing. You're going to become an old, crusty, angry, bitter person who knew you could have done a lot of great in the world, but you didn't. And it's not the people around you's fault. Now it's your fault. You could blame them all you want, but really you were too afraid to step up for yourself. You need to live a life with no regrets. You do have Michael Jordan level talent at something, and you owe it to yourself, your family, your community, the world to chase it down. Now I've got a really special bonus clip that I think you're gonna enjoy, but before that, question of the day, I wanna know, whose validation are you seeking? Whose opinion do you need to let go of? Let me know, don't put their name, but let me know the relationship. Put that down in the comments below. And if you're still here watching, you made it this far in the video, Believe Nation, we don't just watch videos, we do something. Give me a hashtag Believe down in the comments, and also tell me, where are you from? Show some local pride. Put that down below. I wanna celebrate you.
I didn't have focus groups. I wasn't seeking a lot of outside opinions. I always say that an idea is its most vulnerable in the moment that you have it. And it's also human nature that in the moment that we have an idea, we want to turn to our coworker, our friend, our husband, our wife, and say, here's my idea. And I didn't do that. I did not seek validation for my product. I did pursue it. So I told, manufacturing plants, I told patent lawyers my idea. Anybody that could help move my idea forward, I was sharing it with. But mom, dad, friends, and I have the best family and friends, I kept it to myself. And no one told me to do that. It was an intuition. And I just, at that point, I didn't want ego to have to get involved in the process too early. And I didn't want to have to spend the time defending and explaining my idea. I wanted to spend the time pursuing it. And I truly believe that had I not done that, Spanx wouldn't exist.
Hi, this is Dan Lok. If you're a fan of Evan's work, if you want to know exactly how to model my success, I want to invite you to join me for a special online training. All you have to do is click on the link below. You can join me for absolutely no charge. So click on the link below and I will see you in class.
If you want to know Dan Lok's advice on how to develop your gifts, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.